Hello. Right, let's have a chair yoga, chair exercise class. Before we start, this session will be in chunks, and chunks will be accessible for everyone and chunks will not. So you can pick and choose what you want to do. All the information about this session is going to be in the description for the class. Read it carefully. But what I do want to say at the top of this session is that chair yoga is challenging, especially if you follow all the cues. So if you get 15 minutes in and you're like, oh my God, I am knackered, that would probably be appropriate. So try and tune the class to your level. Work on the basis of body weight training, which means do less, better. So if we're doing lots of reps of something and it's knackering you and you're getting soggy, then do one rep really well. Follow the instructions, do that 1 rep, 2 reps, 3 reps, really, really well with good integrity through your body. That is more effective than sloppily doing lots of reps of something that is literally doing nothing other than tiring you out. So make the practice work for you. Take your rests as you need them. There is never anything wrong with resting. Kit we've got, I always keep this kit whether we use it or not, and I don't know at this stage whether we will use it. So a block or a brick or a book, strap or a non-stretchy scarf or tie or belt, something that you can use as a strap. I've got a resistance band. I don't always use a resistance band. If you are using a resistance band, great. If you haven't got one, it's fine. Everything that you do with a resistance band, actually, in my opinion, is more effective without one, but people just seem to really like using them. So I sometimes pop them in. I find people work much more effectively without resistance bands. But as I say, different for different people. You can also replace resistance bands with weights, wrist weights or little barbells, not barbells, dumbbells or whatever. Right. That's it. Let's make a start. Sit comfortably in your seat, preferably a seat that is sturdy and doesn't have arms. Knees are lined up with the hip joints. Hip joints are at the front of the body, not sides. This is padding. These are hip joints. Ankles are under the knees, feet are flat on the floor. Back of the lower back is in the back of the chair, and the spine is lengthening up, so that the crown of the head feels like it's lifting towards the ceiling. Shoulders roll back and down. Tops of the shoulders are softening away from the ears. If you want to rest a little more, let your upper back rest into the back of your chair, as long as your chair doesn't recline too much. If you want to work a little bit more, if you're feeling energetic and really up for it, grow tall, upper back stays away from the back of the chair. And the more you keep your upper back away from the chair without slouching, so if you start to feel your front go soggy and your back curving, you're working too hard. The more you keep your upper back away and you stay tall through your spine, like this, not like this, the harder you work, the more effort you'll put in. So we're just going to breathe for a bit. Eyes can close in your tall, comfortable position and just start to come towards the natural breath. And take 3 deep breaths, inhaling deeply through the nose, as deeply as you can, and exhaling out through the mouth, via the back of the throat. And just do that a couple more times at your own pace. If you are unable to breathe deeply without coughing, or you have a restriction in your breath that is unavoidable, just breathe naturally and be connected to the sensation of breathing. That's your first default. Always natural breath, connected to the breathing. You don't want to labor the breath at all, and you certainly don't want to induce coughing that creates tightness in your body. Start to let your breath settle into its own natural cycle when you've had your 3 big breaths, if you're doing them. And as you settle here, eyes closed in this position with your natural breath, notice the patterns of your natural breath If they start to shift and change, just let them. Remember, you're not separate from your breath. So bringing your attention in towards your breath, whether you're observing it or whether you're just enjoying the experience of breathing, it's very calming. And the calmer you get, the more your breath will soften, lengthen, balance out. There'll just be a feeling of the breath really coming to a very restful place for you, even if your breath is naturally very shallow for whatever medical reason that you may have, or to do with your wheelchair, if you're in a wheelchair, you know, whatever the reason is, the breath will still balance out when your nervous system is resting. You're not separate. So if you start to note, if I say to you, breathe naturally and don't control the breath will still change. So be connected to that change and allow it to happen. We're just not doing any particular breath control exercises right now. So just stay there with the breath. Your first default throughout all exercise, all practices, all of life is your natural breath. Always, the breath should feel comfortable. It should not feel restricted. And you should not be feeling any sense of anxiety or stress. So natural breath tends not to induce anxiety, stress. And that means that everything that we do going forward for the next few minutes, we're going to layer up breathing exercises. And whether you choose to take on those breathing exercises is your choice. You can sit and breathe naturally, comfortably, for the rest of this section of the class, and that is enough. If you want to start to expand and work with breath with me, and it's safe for you, comfortable, you can start to layer these things up, or you can pick and choose what you want. So eyes can stay closed all the way through. Going to keep the elbows in, but bring the hands in front of you with the palms facing each other like you're holding a football. And it doesn't matter whether you're holding the football from the top and the bottom or the left and the right, it doesn't matter. On the inhale, draw the arms out a little wider. And as you exhale, bring them back about the size of a football. And just keep doing that. You're working with the natural breath. And your hands are mimicking the movement of your body as you breathe. So on the inhale, the arms are opening up away from each other. And as you exhale, they're coming back together. Become aware of the desire of your chest, your abdomen, your belly to do a similar thing. So as you inhale, hands come away from each other. And the body expands. As you exhale, hands come towards each other and the body softens in. Check in with the tops of your shoulders periodically. Ensure that they are not pulling up towards your ears. It does happen. Lovely stuff. For the next 3 rounds, it's optional whether you continue with the hands or not. Start to emphasize the hugging in on that out breath. So the hands come together, squeeze your whole body into the midline. The midline runs from the top of the head all the way down to between the feet. It's a vertical line. So as you exhale, feel the outer edges of your body hugging in towards that line, which is an extension of the spine. As you inhale, relax. It's an internal hug to squeeze. It is not intense. It is a raising of the volume. For some people, you could press your feet into the floor and you will get a similar sensation. We will do that shortly. Inhale to expand. Exhale, hugging. Notice your abdomen squeezing. As you exhale, squeeze the abdomen softly towards the spine. Rib cage, belly button, lower abdomen squeeze. Inhale to open. Remember, you don't have to do any of this. You can just sit here and breathe. You can think about the expansion and the release. We're just activating the out breath. This is the last one. One more breath. And as you squeeze in, release the hands. Keep all that tension, squeezing in, and just breathe naturally. It's going to be higher up in the chest. Feel the heat build in your body. Notice all these muscles that are switched on. And on your next out breath, let it all go and feel your body sort of melt down into the chair. If you did that with some level of intensity, you will feel a lot of muscles working in your body. I did that with a lot of intensity to the extent that I could hear my chair creaking and feet were tipping back a little bit. There's a sign, so I can feel all that, all those muscles have switched on. So we're going to keep building on that. We're going to use the block between the knees. So whatever you're using, make sure it's not so narrow that your knees are basically squashed together, but not so wide that they're out of line with the hips. So we're somewhere in between the two. I am rotating my block wide because it's a better alignment with my actual hip joints. We're just going to use the block to squeeze against, create some resistance with it. If you cannot keep the block in place with just your legs, hold on to it. The point of the block is not that it needs to float in midair. So eyes can be closed. We're going to work with the breath. We're going to start with pressing the feet into the ground. If this hurts any part of your body, there's an alternative way of approaching it. So we're just going to start and I will describe it. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, start to press your feet down into the ground, raise the volume on the soles of your feet. Let the rest of the body respond. If that means switching on muscles, switch them on. Inhale to relax. Exhale to raise the volume on the feet. Inhale to reduce the volume on the feet. If that tends to ache your knees or your hips, essentially what we're doing is creating a sensation of lifting off the chair. So you could instead, as you exhale, imagine that you're pulling up off your chair and then inhale to relax. So it's either it's the same thing, it's the same mechanic. Exhale to lift, inhale to lower. You're not actually lifting and lowering, it's an engagement. So if you close your eyes and pay attention as you exhale, your feet may be pressing down, but definitely your legs are firing up, your thighs are firing up, and there's a sense of lift off your chair. That lift is your pelvic floor. So if you take your attention to your pelvic floor, which is central, you can feel that pulling up. And if you follow that pulling up, there's a lengthening through the whole of the spine to the crown of the head, and the abdomen has switched on. So you can start to pull that up as well. On your inhale, you must relax everything fully. So really take time to release. 3 more of those. Exhale. Press the feet down or feel that lift, either way. And then inhale to relax, pulsing. Exhale, inhale to relax. It's about the internal muscles. On your next inhale, relax. And we're going to shift this. So as you exhale, maybe you press your feet down, maybe you don't, but we're definitely squeezing the legs into the block from the outside. And then inhaling to relax. As you exhale, outside of the legs and the glutes, pressing in. So you feel the pressure increase on your block, and then inhale to relax. And you just keep doing that. Pay attention to your bum. Your bum, as you exhale, is doing this. Thighs, outer edges of the thighs are pressing in, and then releasing. It's the same thing. So real attention to this outside line of the body, the lateral lines of the body, and release. So when we work with the pelvic floor, feet press down, feel the pelvic floor lift. That's the midline of the body pulling in and up. Lateral line, when we're pressing in from the outside, those are the lateral lines, the outside lines of the body. Last one. Inhale to relax. Let it go. Next round, we're going to imagine that we're trying to pull the block in towards ourselves, and we're going to think about using the inside of the thighs for this. I prefer the block to be a little narrower for this. If you do close the block, if you do change the position of your knees, you need to change the position of your feet as well. So we're imagining that we're scooping the block back towards the back of the chair or back towards your belly, however you want to choose it. It won't move, but that's what we're doing. Eyes can be closed because then you can feel the muscles working. Deep breath in and exhale. Insides of the thighs are pulling back. So it's like you are using the insides of your legs to pull that block back. Inhale to relax. Exhale, pull that block back in, insides of the legs, and release. See if you can do 3 more after this round at your own pace. You might be doing short pulses, you might be doing long, intense ones. It's really good for your pelvic floor, it's really good for your deep internal muscles, extremely good for your thighs and your glutes. It's just waking up all those core muscles. This is the last one of these. I'm going to finish on this round. Exhale, squeeze. You can see my head lifting, which is a sign that I'm working. And then inhale to relax. This block can go on the floor. We're going to start to use all that breath work. Remember, you can take a breather if you need to, a little break. Let's start to work through cat-cow. The spine is now awake. Even though we've done nothing with the spine, the muscles around the spine are awake from all that work. Hands down by the sides, palms forward, shoulders over hips, relaxing away from the tops of the ears. As you inhale, roll the shoulders back and down, lift your heart, lift your chin into cow pose. As you exhale, round your spine, roll the palms back, close the shoulders, bow the head. Cow pose. Just keep rolling through the breath, inhaling to open up, exhaling to curl. So just show you this from the side in case you are new to this practice. Inhale to open up, cow pose with the shape of my back. Exhale to round. I keep my hands down by my sides because it helps with the shoulders. Inhale, open up, lift. Exhale to round. Focus is first and foremost on the spine rippling from the tailbone all the way up. So it's a full spinal movement. I'll put my hands on my knees so you can really watch. Exhale to round. You see my whole spine is rippling. It's not just the upper back or just the lower back. I'm making a real effort. I'm not compressing the throat, so I'm not throwing my head all the way back, and I'm not hoiking my neck all the way forward. Keeping a lot of space in the neck. For the next 3 rounds, optional if you want to, on your exhale into cat pose, you can pull your belly back and lift your pelvic floor and tuck your ribcage in. It's a much stronger movement. Exhale to squeeze. Inhale to open. It's not my favorite way of waking up the abdomen, but because we've already woken it, you might be able to find that little squeeze. Last one. Inhale to open, exhale to round. Inhale to open. Come back to neutral. Stay tall. We're going to change this whole spinal movement into a side-to-side situation. So let's take the arms up. If your arms get tired, you can start with the arms down. It's completely fine. Arms up, and on your exhale, right hand comes down, left arm goes across. Keep gently pressing into the feet if you want to make this more intense. Inhale to center, exhale, left arm down, right arm across. So I'm not mirroring you. If that's confusing, then you can follow my direction, because with side stretches, anything that goes side to side, we are always going to do both sides. But I tend to get much more confused if I try to mirror, so I've given up on it altogether. Okay. Finishing on the left here. Let's come back to center, and we're going to soften this off. So take your right hand down, take your left arm across, keep both hips down, and then take your your left arm can rest. Soften, rest on your head. If you want to rest it on your head, sometimes it's nice to just take the wrist, top of the wrist to the head, turn the palm upwards, pull the elbow back so your left shoulder is drawing away, back behind you, and maybe even turn to gaze up towards the ceiling. So the whole of the side is getting a good stretch, but also the chest, the pectoral muscles, the tricep is also getting a good stretch. I hold on to the chair because it helps to stop me collapsing, because really what we want is the hips to stay down. So if you feel yourself tipping, then you're not really stretching. It needs to be all about up in the waist. I sort of have to keep my belly pulled in a little bit for this one, because otherwise I would tip over. So if you don't have a chair you can lean on, you could put your forearm on your thigh, so there's a little bit of something to hold you down. Feel the length through that side of the body. Relax into it for one more breath. Yep, let's come back to center. Left arm down, right arm up, reach. Exhale into your side bend. So this is not as intense as the other side bend. I'm putting some weight down into my chair or into my forearm. I'm going to do this with the forearm, seems to work better. Relax your upper arm, maybe let it rest on your head. I like to put my wrist on my head. Start to draw your right shoulder back. Now, this is my tight shoulder, so I'm going to make a real effort to draw that shoulder back. I'm going to turn my head to gaze, maybe up and beyond that right arm. But you know, if it's bad for your neck, then you shouldn't do that. You can gaze in any direction. And settle in here. Try not to let those hips tip over too much. Just opening up the sides of the body. So it is common for people who have tightness in their chest for any reason to cough in these postures. Again, you can soften it up. So while you're holding for the next few breaths, draw attention to the fact that all you need to do from a symmetrical, seated, tall spine or standing tall spine position, all you need to do to get a side stretch is to raise one arm and reach your fingers towards the ceiling. Now, if you look at my line through the center of my body, the left side of my body is now really long. So if you go no further than that, you are still lengthening out the side of your body. If you go over a little way, you are still lengthening out the side of your body. If you start to tip over, you are no longer lengthening the side of your body, you're just tipping over to one side. So if you're still up there in your lovely side stretch, you can release, come back to center, bring your hands to your heart, and do some little twists. Now, I have taken to doing these with my hands to my heart because it is more comfortable. Elbows tucked right in. You can also bring your hands to the block with the elbows tucked right in and the block right up against you. Or if you want to work even harder, you can take the block forward and keep the tops of the shoulders down and really work a little harder. So I'll go for the middle ground. Elbows tucked in with the block in my hand. You can have your hands together at heart. You can be holding the block forward. Pull your belly in. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, keeping your head in line with the block, rotate your upper body. Inhale to center. Exhale, rotate. It's a small rotation. If the chair, as is the case with me, is stopping me from going comfortably, shuffle forward a little bit if you can. Belly in, exhale to rotate, belly in, inhale to relax, optional release of the belly. Exhale, inhale. So the point of this is a really, really disciplined movement to introduce movement into the spine, into the waist. The point is not to shuffle everything around. So my shoulders, the block, the hands, the neck, everything's in line with the chest here. One more on each side. Over to the right. Inhale to center. Over to the left. Inhale to center. Release. Hopefully your middle is feeling a little bit more awake. Bring your hands to your thighs, and this time let your shoulders go. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, rotate freely. Let your right shoulder draw back and your left shoulder draw forward. Turn your head to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale. Right shoulder forward, left shoulder back. So you can see the motion of my hands sliding up their legs. Inhale to center. Exhale. Try it with this little hand slide. So the left hand slides forward, the right hand slides back in the same direction as the shoulders, but I'm keeping my elbows in and I can feel that movement traveling up my spine. On the next round, if you want, you can turn your head a little further. So right arm slides back, right shoulder slides back, left arm slides forward, left shoulder slides forward. Head turns to the right. Keep breathing. Maybe the head goes around a little bit further. Don't try and hoik all the way. If you feel tension building in your neck, then you've gone too far. Keep your right shoulder away from your earlobe. Inhale to center, slide over the other way. Exhale, pull the belly in, rotate the chest to the left. Left arm is drawing back, left hand is drawing back, right hand is drawing forward. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. If you are comfortable, maybe turn the head a little bit more. So all of my tightness is in my right side. So for me, turning the head here, I have to be really careful not to go too far. For no reason other than all it's going to do is make it tighter. So go gently and look for feelings of release. Lovely. Inhale to center, one more twist. Inhale, take the arms up. Hopefully you're primed for it. Exhale, left hand to right thigh, right hand goes behind. It's a classical twist. Try and keep your knees in line and your hips in line, so don't let them slide around. And rotate your chest to the right. Maybe turn your head if it's feeling comfortable. Belly in. Inhale, grow tall. I mean, you can relax your belly on the inhale if you want. And then exhale, just for one breath at least, pull your belly in firmly. And then from that point, you can breathe how you want. If you want to go for heat and strength, belly keeps going in on that exhale and maybe hold all the way through as you breathe. Or you can just relax the belly on the exhale, it's fine. Big old twist. Right shoulder pulling down away from the right ear. Inhale to center, reach up. Exhale other way. Rotate. Wonderful. Really good, all good. So when you're ready, we're going to come back to center. Hopefully that feels quite nice. You can spend longer on that side if you want to, if you felt it wasn't enough, given that we spent probably longer on the other side. With a nice chunk of work on the upper body there. We're going to work our way down before we do anything else. So grab your strap. We'll start at the feet and work our way up. So basically we're going to meet in the middle. Grab hold of your strap. Put it around the ball of your right foot. Balls of the foot behind the toes, not in the arch of the foot. And just make sure your strap is woven around. Now, if you can't feel your feet, then you're going to just do this to the best of your ability. There's no, you can even skip this section, you know, just do what you can. So use the strap to pull your foot back and then push forward. So we're just flexing and extending the right foot. If you want to use a resistance band for this, you have to be careful to resist the bounce. So the thing about resistance bands that I don't like is that the work goes away 50% of the time if you don't bring your own willpower into the game. So if you've got your resistance band around the ball of your foot, the shorter your band is, the harder your foot will work. If you push your foot forward, it's going to naturally pull back. So you've got to really control that journey back. This is why I don't like bands. Feels nice on the foot. I enjoy this, but I'm good at disciplining myself not to bounce. So we're looking for slower, more intense movements. If you prefer to work with a strap or the band, you can keep it there. We're going to do ankle circles. I prefer to do this without. Your choice. And we're just going to do 3 in one direction, very slow and intense. I can feel those ankles really strongly. So, and then back the other way, slow and intense. Remember what I said at the beginning, fewer reps, more intensity. So I'm not going fast and floppy is reasonably pointless. Right. So that's enough of those. Let's hinge the knee. But if you've taken your foot out of the strap, put it back in. If you're starting to feel fatigued, you must rest. Okay, now I've got my legs stretched out. I'm going to hinge the knee slowly with intention. Just go to where you can go. If you don't have a lot of sensation or muscle tone in your legs, the point of this is to connect with the movement. So the movement might be absolutely tiny. It might not even be physically, visibly available at all. It might just be completely internal sensation, the movement. That's fine. The intention is what counts. If you're dealing with a severe lack of mobility or muscle tone, you might just be manipulating the joint using your arm. That might be enough for you. So we've really got to be flexible about how we think about this. We're all sitting on seats for different reasons. When you've done your final round of that, but you only really need to do 3 or 4 of each of these. We're going to lift and lower this leg. So you can use your strap or your resistance band for it. Remember, if you're using the band, you'll resist that bounce, or you can do it completely without. I'm going to show you how to do this without. So you need to keep the opposite leg down. You can leave your hand resting on the thigh. On an exhale, push the opposite leg down, lift the right leg. 1, inhale, relax. 2, pressing this foot down. So this is just like that breathing exercise that we did at the beginning. As you exhale, you push the sole of your left foot down and raise your right foot. Might just be an intention to raise. Switch sides, press your right foot down on the exhale, lift the left. It might not even leave the ground, doesn't matter. You'll feel the muscle fire up in your grounded leg. 3, other side. 1, this gives you a chance to practice. 2, 3, right foot down, exhale, press that right foot down, lift the left. 1, 2, 3, that's the last one. I'm going to do some hip circles on the right side. You can do them freestyle, hold on to your thigh, draw some circles. You can use your strap. I also need to come forward on my seat a little bit for this. Your circles might be tiny, they might be massive. You can use your strap to pull your leg around, and the strap can be around the thigh or the foot. Whatever works best for you. You can also use your resistance band if that's more convenient. If none of these are available for you, you can draw circles on the floor with your big toe, but the idea is to get the movement of the thigh bone into the hip joint. So keeping your leg perfectly still and drawing circles with your lower leg won't work. You'll just strain your knee. It needs to be your whole leg drawing circles. You see that thigh bone moving around in the hip joint? You might just be doing very, very tiny movements. When hopefully you've done those. So 3 hip circles, 3 one way, 3 the other. Come to the other side, start. We've already done our little lifts, leg lifts. We're going to switch to the foot from this side. So take to the left, strap up your left toes. And extend, flex and extend. Put some welly into it. You need to be able to feel the joint. We're only doing a few reps, high intensity. 3 or 4. 3, really pressing into it. 4, and then circles with or without a strap, really intense big circles. You rotate, you're drawing as big a circle as you can with your toes. Really feel into that joint, even if it feels fatigued. You do the best you can. If these movements aren't available to you, you do the best you can. You can visualize that movement. You can use your leg lifter or your strap to manipulate that joint so that at least it's getting some movement, even if you're not doing it. You're not doing it as in with your muscles. So even if you're in a chair or you've got someone supporting you, we just want to get some movement into those joints if possible. If you can't, then you can chill and watch this all unravel until we come back to our upper body work, or you could do something else if you want to go back and carry on with what we were doing before. Knee hinges, slow, intentional. 1, 2, 3. We'll do 4 of these, I reckon. 4. Straight over to hips because we've done our leg lifts. So again, you can bend the knee and just draw them in the air. 1, 3 in each direction, or you can do them freestyle and hold on to the bottom of the thigh, or you can do much smaller circles, or you can draw circles on the floor. There's all sorts of ways of doing this. If your legs don't do them, they don't do them, and that's all there is to it. 3, there we go. Legs mobilized. Let's move all this stuff out of the way. Shuffle those legs out wide. So if you're working from a wheelchair, the next set of movements will not likely be available to you. So this is your cue to either carry on with the movements we did before, take a breather, or just do what feels good for you. You can continue working with the parts of your body that need particular attention. Otherwise, take those legs out wide. After this sequence, we will be doing work that upper body is available for. So sitting really tall, shoulders drawing back and down, hands just resting on the front of the chair. Pull your belly in, keep your hips back in your chair and on the seat. Start to hinge forward from the hips. This is great for sciatica, and if you've got replacement joints, then you just need to go carefully and gently. So come down about halfway. I'm just going to let my arms now rest on my thighs. I'm looking down at my feet and just making sure that my knees are tracking over my ankles and they're still lined up here with the hips. So there's no collapsing. In order to get my knees to track over my ankles, I have to slightly pull out, and I am using muscles here. The feet are just a little bit pressing down into the ground, so there is a feeling of lift in the pelvic floor. The glutes are a little bit switched on, and I'm just going to switch my thighs on a little, fire up my thighs a little bit. So that is the feeling of pulling your thighs back towards your hips. Upper body is chilling though, very relaxed. Feet, legs are switched on. If you can, on an exhale, sink down a little further and you can relax your arms. So you can go down as far as you want, or if this is your sweet spot, you stay up here. What we're looking for, so wherever you are, relax your neck, relax your shoulders, and relax your back. We're looking for a feeling of extension through the lower back, so a feeling of length through the lower back and the hips. We're looking for a feeling of maybe a bit of a stretch on the inner thighs, the hamstrings, the backs of the thighs perhaps. This is a really great stretch for sciatica because that lengthening out all the way around this side of the body helps to release tension into the various muscles that pinch those sciatic nerves. So this can be a great way of making your way towards your sciatica. Therapies, if you've been working with someone to try and get out of sciatica, this is a good way. While you're down here, if you want to, if it would feel nice on your hips, this is a hip compression exercise. You can start to carefully lift one heel, lower it down, lift the other heel and lower it down, all the way through, just staying relaxed. And just keep doing that very carefully, because when you lift a heel and lower it, you're increasing pressure on your hip joint. If you start to find that actually this feels really great and I love it, you can try lifting both heels, much more intense, and lowering them. And if that feels good, you can maybe hold those heels lifted. And so while we're down here, you may have started to feel, some people find that when they've been upside down for a long time, they start to feel a little bit dizzy. If you're a person who gets vertigo or has the kind of blood pressure that doesn't respond well to staying upside down for too long, come to a halfway position. So you can always, as I mentioned right at the beginning of this practice, you can always be in a halfway position for this. You don't have to hinge all the way forward. I'm a quite mobile person. I hinge forward. The people in my classes like to hinge forward because this is their inversion. This is how they get to be upside down. We will come out slowly. So even if you're a person who does tend towards vertigo and it's not anything medical, you will come out slowly. You will have time. So when you're ready, release those heels. Last little maneuver, and you, before we start making our way up, this is optional if you're able to get your hands to the ground. Lengthen up through the spine. So you're in a halfway lift. My fingertips are just touching the floor. My spine isn't lengthening forward. I'm getting a great stretch here. So this is not a fold. It's a hinge. See, that's how that looks from the side. I'm going to take a twist. Now, if you want to be doing this, but your hands don't reach the ground, you could have them on books or blocks or a stool even. So left fingers or left hand stays down, right arm either draws up towards the ceiling, or you can put it on your thigh and rotate your chest to the right. So I'm just going to work in this direction because you can see better. Right shoulder drawing back, chest rotating to the right, left hand on the floor, and I'm using my right hand to just press that thigh open, but right hand could be up towards the ceiling. You still got to keep that shoulder drawing back. Gaze is up to you, whatever's comfortable on your neck. Belly can pull in if you want, your choice. Switch sides. Well, that's quite intense. This is preparing us for a warrior sequence. Open up the other way. I'm going to do this with my hand down to start with. So right hand on the floor under the shoulder or a block. Left hand is sitting on the thigh. I'm just going to press my left thigh away. Left shoulder back and away from the ear. Twist. Squeeze the belly in. Do it from the front so you can see from the front as well. If you've got your arm up, it's stacked. So this is quite similar to doing a straddle twist if you were standing, or even triangle. Lovely. When you're ready, come back to center, bring your forearms to your thighs. Try not to weight bear into your thighs if you can avoid it. Just see how you feel now. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, pull your belly in. Try not to weight bear into those thighs. So the arms are not doing anything other than stabilizing. Now bring your hands to your thighs with the thumbs inwards, shoulders rolling back and down, and start to rotate your shoulders like we did in that seated position at the beginning. Just shuffle one shoulder forward, one shoulder back. Right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, maybe turn the head to the left. Left shoulder forward, right shoulder back, maybe turn the head to the right. It's a nice little shimmy. Lovely. And then come back to center. Slowly make your way up. We are ready for some warrior. So if you are coming back to that, that's quite an intense practice with the wide legs. You can do all the upper body stuff without the legs. You can actually keep the legs at neutral for most of it. It is that work is people in my class who this video is for have been working towards that for quite a long time, and it's always been a popular practice, but we have really intensified it over the years. So even just being in a wide leg forward fold is amazing for the backs of your hips, your lower back, and it's really good for the sciatica. So do keep with it. So hopefully my chatting and wardrobe adjustments, classy, I've given you a little breather. We're going to take our warrior sequence. It's the last big sequence of the class. So there's always a workshop that comes with a warrior sequence. It annoys me when people do chair yoga and they act like warrior is easy on chair yoga. It's not. If you're just working with upper body, then the lower body business means nothing much. Unless you're able to press into your feet ever so lightly, that is an option. If you're also working with lower body, you have options. If you're fed up with your legs being out wide, you can come back to neutral and just work with upper body. You can shuffle medium wideness, or you can work super wide. If you're working super wide, you need to make sure that you're not collapsing. So if I let my muscles all go, my knees want to pull in because my hips rotate that way. Some people's, their knees will just flop out. So we want to make sure that these lines are nice and strong. They might not be beautifully symmetrical, but hip, knee, ankle. The ankle is under the knee is lined up with the hip joint, into the hip joint, and the toes are tracking in the same direction as the knee. And I'm gently using my muscles to open my knee out. This is not an intense posture, but there is a lot of structural integrity there. Same on this side. So just gently drawing the knee out so it's over the ankle, making sure that the knees and the toes are tracking. So my knees are tracking over my toes. I can see my toes. So I know that I've not gone too far in or too far out. If I'm too far out, then I can't actually see. So that's your nice square squat position if you want to do it from this posture, which is most people's starting posture. Next variation is building the actual warrior legs, which would involve maybe just simply stretching one leg out like so. This is quite hard work on this hip. So if you were doing it like that, I would bring this leg forward a bit. It's a really complicated way of doing it. So you can do it like that. You might need to turn the toes out a little bit more. So that's your second variation of warrior. Lengthen out one leg. Better still, if you're doing this variation, is to shuffle yourself across so that your one whole leg is supported by the chair. Now, my knees are tracking over my toes are pointing to the side, my other leg is straightened, is lengthened out. I'm aiming towards a straight leg. For some people, it will remain bent for quite a long time, but I'm aiming towards powering up that leg so that it's straight. And my back toes don't have to point, they do point forward, but they don't have to, they might point out, or they might come further in, it doesn't matter. But the hips are basically square to the front of the room. So I'm going to do it like this, because this is the closest shape to warrior. I would recommend doing this version or this version for most integrity, but you can start to move towards this one if it feels nice. I just think it's a little bit uncomfortable, that's all. Right, warrior two. Maybe you're just doing the upper body and you are currently bored shitless with my chat. So if that's the case, let's get on with it. You'll be wishing you were still, again, in the next few moments. So pressing lightly into the feet, firing up the thighs, fingertips come to the heart center. We're going to the right. So it's warrior two to the right to start with. If you're mirroring me, you're going to the left. Elbows in line with fingertips. Shoulders down. If you're not sure whether your shoulders are up or down right now, pull them up, take a deep breath in, and then pull them all the way down. Exhale. Belly draws back. Take the arms out wide, just hinge from the elbows. Anytime your arms start to feel tired, bring the elbows in, palms up, we'll do the trick. Turn your head to the right or the left if you're mirroring me. Gazing over your fingertips. Stay tall in the spine, crown of the head lifting towards the ceiling, both feet lightly pressing into the ground. We can hold, you can break out anytime you need to take a breather. The point of warrior is to feel strong and aligned, and even if you're shaking like a leaf, it's working, right? It's a posture. Try not to resist the posture. The posture does most of the work for you. It's a very stable posture. When you're ready, on your next breath in, draw back. So your left arm is drawing back towards your left wall behind you, and then relax that arm, forget about it. Don't lean on your back leg. Take your right arm up towards the ceiling, or left if you're mirroring me, and reach up towards the ceiling. Always have a peek and rewind if you need to. Can you see how much the right side of my body is lengthened out? You can gaze forward, you can gaze up, you can gaze actually out to the side if you want, but I would recommend gazing over to the right or up if you can. A lot of work happening in my body now. My right thigh is burning. If you've got space, you can allow the upper arm to reach back. You can even rest the hand on the head with the palm up like we did in the side stretch at the beginning. So you see how we link all these things together. Keep breathing. Belly pulling in. This is reverse warrior. When you're ready, come back to warrior with control. Inhale, back into the T shape, gazing to the right or the left if you're mirroring me. Bring your right arm to your right thigh. Do not weight bear. So we're coming back to those little squats that we were doing about 3 minutes ago. Take your left arm up towards the ceiling, right if you're mirroring me, and extend. So we're making a big diagonal line from the fingertips of your left hand to the outer edge of your left foot, or right if you're mirroring me. Do not, to the best of your ability, do not press into your arm that's resting on your thigh. I mean, you might have to. When you're new to it, you might have to, but see if you can start to move away from that. Pull your belly in. If you're feeling really comfortable here and you want to go further, you can slide your right arm down towards the floor, fingertips on the floor, but not weight bearing at all. You can relax your upper arm. Again, you can relax your upper arm and rest it on the top of your head. Can you see how these things thread together? Inhale to center, back to warrior two. Exhale, release. Hard work. Come back to your central line. So we're going to take a breather just to recoup before we do the other side, because this is what we've been working towards. Come back to center, eyes closed. We're just going to rest the hips, rest the upper body. Shoulders draw back and down, hands down by the sides. Let's do some cat-cow. So keep it soft. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, lift the chin. Exhale to round. Inhale to open. Exhale to round. Inhale to open. Exhale to round. Come back to neutral. Take your right hand over your left shoulder and then use your left hand to draw that right arm across. So the shoulders, right shoulder's coming forward, left shoulder's going back. Keep breathing. We're just freeing up some tension before we do the other side. Inhale to center, over the other way. Left hand over right shoulder, and then use your right hand to draw your left arm across. There's a little twist in the upper body, stretching out the arms a little bit as well. Inhale to center. Take the legs out wide again. Hands on the thighs. Grow tall. Exhale. Hinge forward from the hips if you can. If you can't do this, then just leave it out. And then inhale to draw back up. Turn the thumbs inwards. Exhale down. And inhale up. We're going the other way. So either stay here in your wide leg position, take a little time to make sure your knees are drawing out, knees over ankles, feet tracking in line with the heels, feet tracking in line with the knees, belly pulling in, or stretch out the right leg if you want to. Quite uncomfortable, that one, but you can do it if you want. Feels good for you. Otherwise, hooking your left thigh on your chair. So as you know, if you're mirroring, all the lefts are right and all the rights are lefts. Sorry if it gets confusing, but this is how these things roll. Right, find your position. Take your time as much as you need. Pause if you need to, otherwise it's fingertips. This is our last push. Fingertips together at heart center, shoulders drawing back and down, growing tall through the crown of the head. Belly starts to pull in. Take the arms out wide. I have to make so many adjustments in this direction because my right shoulder is so tight, it pulls everything. Okay, arms wide. Draw the chest forward, shoulders down. Turn the head over the left fingertips. Gently pressing into the feet and breathing. So I like to pull my belly in for this, but you do not have to. Remember, you can have elbows in, palms up. If your arms are hurting or tired or just too much fatigue, you're better off having one breath properly than 10 breaths shabbily, remember. Take your rests. On your next breath in, reach back, 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 back. Release your back arm. Do not wait there, just let it go. Take your front arm up. So left arm going towards the ceiling, reach up. Maybe gazing to the left, maybe gazing forward, maybe gazing up. Belly pulling in, reaching up. You can stay here in your reverse warrior, or you can reach back, or you can relax your arm as we did. Rest the back of the wrist, the top of the wrist, on the head with palm turning upwards, just like our side stretch at the beginning. All things come together quite nicely. This side is much harder for me because I'm compressing my tight side. Pressing into the feet. And when you're ready, come back to center, warrior two. It's really useful to use your camera as a screen to check your alignment on if you don't have mirrors, and just ignore whether you like the look of yourself on the screen. It doesn't matter. All you need is to look at the lines of your body. We're not trying to make perfect lines. We're just trying to get a sense of where we are, what's squiffy. Okay, left arm comes and rests. Forearm resting on left thigh. Don't wait there. Take your right arm up towards the ceiling and reach up. Upward energy for these postures. You can stay here. You can extend, extend, extend. So you're making a nice long line from your right fingertips to the outer edge of your right foot. From here, you can just rest, you can relax your arm, as we just did. Turn the palm up, rest your hand on your head. Gently try to take the weight off of your resting left forearm and see if you can rotate your shoulders back and gaze up towards the ceiling. So you can choose which version you want to do of these postures. There's no better or worse, there's no advanced, intermediate. Some people like some like others. It depends on the day. It's just variations on a mode. Sometimes you do a bit of both. When you're ready on exhale, pull your belly in and with control, best you can, come back to center. Hard work. Rewards are due. Release your arms. Make your way back to center. Shuffle the knees back in. Bring the knees all the way together if you can. Take the feet out, point the toes in. Just let your hips relax inwards a little bit. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do this. It's just to rotate those hips back in. And then bring the legs back to neutral. To the middle space. Lovely stuff. So we just need to do a little bit of shoulder releasing. Let's take your strap. You can use your resistance band for this if you want. You're going to take your arms reasonably wide and take the strap over your head. Draw the shoulders down. The arms need to go quite wide, so you've got to gauge this. Pull that strap quite tight, so it really is tight. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows and bring the strap behind your head to the best of your ability. If you can't, you can bring it forward, or you can do both. So exhale, draw the strap down behind the head. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, draw the strap in front of the head. What we're doing here is shoulders. So if this is too easy, you need to shuffle those hands back in a little bit. Exhale, pull down. So close your eyes, pay attention to your shoulder blades pulling down and together. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. I'm so wonky. I'm working very hard on correcting this wonkiness because I have a very, very tight shoulder on one side. It's all relatively speaking. So for a person with very mobile shoulders, my right shoulder is much tighter than my left. It is causing all sorts of wonkiness. Lovely. Bring your arms down and forward. So you might need to take your arms wide again. Lengthen the arms out. Deep breath in as you take the arms up. And then if you can, exhale, take the arms back. Only if it's possible. Slow movements. If you can't do this, then up and down is fine. If you're locking or having pain, then you need to take the arms a little wider. So there's going to be effort here. Inhale forward and up. Exhale back and down to the best of your ability. You might not go very far. I'm keeping that tension in my arms and in my straps, so I'm not letting go. Lovely. Come back to center and release. Strap can go down. Bring your arms to, Genie Arms. So let's bring your arms together in front of you. Put the right arm on the left forearm, upper arm, left hand on the right upper arm. Pull your belly in. If you can, cross your legs, squeeze the knees together, and I'm sitting on the back of the chair and leaning on it. Draw your shoulders back and down and see if you can lift your elbows. This is a tension thing, so it's not just about hoiking your elbows up. You shouldn't be able to lift your elbows more than a few inches. So you've really got to push your shoulders down, spread your shoulder blades, pull the belly in and lift those arms just a bit. If I were to let go of all, I can't lift these any higher in the position I'm in. If I let go of all of my muscles and relax everything, they'll go. But because I've switched everything on, I can't lift those arms any higher. Okay, so that's what we're doing. It's a compression exercise. Release when you're ready. Switch your legs. You can cross the legs fully if you want, and switch your arms. Yeah, so it works the other way around. Draw the shoulders back and down firmly. Pull the belly in, clench the knees together, lift the elbows. Full compression, you're breathing into the chest and lifting the elbows up. And it's like your shoulders are trying to stop you from lifting them up. Okay, release. So that is a version of eagle pose that I know is available to people in my group. If you like eagle pose, I will show you the second version. If you want to try it, you don't normally do it. The first version is best because anyone can do it really. This version is the version that some people can and some people can't. So legs are optional. You can take one leg all the way over the other and then wrap your shins together if you can do it. Some people can, some people can't. Take the arms forward, and we're taking left hand over right, and then you swivel the arms together. For some people, that means back of the hands pressing together, elbows pressing together. For some people, they can swivel all the way around and they might even get the palms of the hands together, or sort of a halfway. So this is traditional eagle. Normally you would do it standing with your bum, this position, but without the chair. So you gaze, you can't see my face now, but you squeeze your knees towards each other. This is really tight. You squeeze your elbows towards each other. You gaze between the crack of the elbows connected, and then you lift those elbows as high as you can without pulling your shoulders up. Pull the belly in and count down from 5, 4, keep breathing, 3, 2, 1, release. It's a really good shoulder stretch. Genie Arms is the same, but it requires you to do your own compression. So if you couldn't put yourself into this position or this position or this position, you can do Genie Arms, or you can do any variation thereof. So we're going to switch sides. Right thigh, no, other way around. Left thigh, cross the legs the opposite way to the best of your ability, or leave the legs out. Arms forward, right arm over the top of the left. Bring the elbows together, swizzle to wherever you get to, or do your Genie Arms. Clamp everything inwards. So we're coming back to that midline of the body, right? Knees pressed together, elbows pressed together, gazing to the crook of the elbows. Lift the elbows as high as you can without pulling the shoulders up. Belly pulls in. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then release. That feels pretty amazing, actually. Brilliant. Let's come back to center. We're going to wind it down and close the practice. So a little bit of a wind down. We're going to do some shoulder rolls. You can put your hands on your shoulders if you need that connection. And if that's you, put your hands on your shoulders and use your elbows to draw circles in the air around you. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Keep this sort of wobbly. If you're not bothered about putting your hands on your shoulders, gorilla arms is nice. Shoulders draw up, back, and down. 3 in each direction. You might have already done loads more. When you've finished, you can just pause and come to center. You go back the other way. Come back to neutral when you've finished your moves. Take your right hand over the top of your head and gently draw your head over to the right. Do not hoik, pull too hard. Once you're here, you can release your hand if you want, or you can let it rest there for some extra weight. Feeling of length on the left side of the neck, not too much compression on the right side. If there's any aching on the right side, you start on the other side instead. Keep the shoulders back and down. So when your head is going over to the right, you can just let your left hand dangle. You can wrap it around your waist with the palm back. You can press it actively down towards ground, so the fingertips are reaching for the ground, or you can pull it back behind you. Just depends on what you want, what you need. Keep breathing, whatever you do. When you're ready, on an inhale, we'll come back to center and switch sides. Left hand over to the right side of the head, just above the ear. Gently draw the head over. No pulling, no shoving. Just stretch. We're just letting everything go now. This is just some gentle work to free everything up. Everything we've done, I would not expect anyone to be able to or to want to do absolutely everything to full capacity in this class. Because we do workshopping, and I like people to know what we're doing, how we should do it, the different variations, what you should be feeling. It does mean that there are natural breaks, which I think is important. It's important for the practice. It's important for you to check in, and it's also important so that you know how these movements should go. You know, we're not ballerinas, we don't need to be perfectly seamless the whole time. Okay, lovely stuff. Now let's come back to center. Hands woven together, just resting at the back of the head, sort of below there's a little dip in the skull, the occipital ridge. And then you, so you just put your hands around that dip and then keep the elbows back, and on an exhale, just start to draw the crown of the head forward. And you can use your hands to gently weigh your head forward, and then you can release your elbows down. And just see, this is not for everyone. And you should not be really deeply compressing the front of your neck. So make sure your chin is drawing up towards the ceiling as well. And this is stretch for the top of the neck and the top of the back. As you can see, I'm not tipping forward from the hips at all. And I'm imagining, so you imagine the inside of your chin, the very tip of your chin, from the inside, there's a piece of string that goes right through the center of the head up towards the ceiling. So the chin is drawing upwards rather than back. Nice. Okay. Let's release. Come back to center. Weave your fingers together in front of you into a nice little fist and start to draw some figures of 8 in the air. Now, the weather's getting warmer, so hopefully arthritis is starting to ebb away if you suffer with arthritis. Notice which direction you're leading in. I always start by going to the right, stop, and then go back the other way. So if you're not sure which way you started, stop, start again automatically, then stop and go back the other way, because your body will always go in its default direction. Lovely. And then release the hands and start to do some really nice big hand circles. Go back the other way. Bring the tops of the hands together at the heart and just gently press the tops of the hands together and draw the elbows down for a top of the wrist stretch. It's just nice sort of stillness with these stretches. You can have your eyes closed for all of this winding down stuff. I do recommend people treat their wind downs in the spirit of relaxation. It's a chance to rest and stretch. Pay attention to the breath and the feelings in the body. Switch the direction of the hands. So start to palms together and just start to draw the palms together, start to draw the hands down with the elbows wide, and you'll start to feel a stretch on the insides of the wrists. If you can't feel that, if you're not able to engage that way, then instead you can. So this is what I'm doing. Doesn't help that I have my sleeves all the way down. That feels pretty good for me. If you can't manage that without slouching or slumping your shoulders, just instead pull one hand back. You can even slide the heel of your hand to the main set of knuckles on your other hand and really pull back. You got to be very mindful of your hands and wrists. They can take a good stretch, but you're not shoving too much. And if you've got arthritis, if you've got tendonitis, if you've got carpal tunnel syndrome, then you're going to back off. There's no point going into pain with your hands. If they're painful, you need to rest them. And when I say pain, I don't mean effort and stretch, I mean actual pain. And most people who have pain in their hands know whether it's fatigue, whether it's arthritis, whether it's tendonitis, because it feels very different in your hands. Lovely. Do the thumbs. That feels quite nice. You just do a little stretch for the thumbs. You can do each of the fingers individually if you want, or in little groups. Feels quite nice. I know that if you're using a wheelchair, motorized or not, or crutches, these hand stretches are quite important. So make fists, tight fists, spread the fingers wide. Alternate, thumb tucked in, thumb out. So the last one, promise. Shake out. Yeah, there we go. Shake out your hands and your feet if you want. Find it quite hard to shake out my feet when I'm sitting on a chair, but you can if you can do it. If you're short enough, you can let your feet dangle. Do it that way. Lovely. So with that, we're just going to come to some last few breaths, sitting tall. Now, maybe just let your upper back rest down. Let your feet come forward a bit if they want to. Check in with your legs and your thighs. This is a nice little tip. When you get to the rest point, take your attention down into your feet. And when you fully relax your feet, you'll notice it's likely that your knees will flop out. They'll ping apart a little bit. I don't know if that goes for absolutely everybody. I certainly don't know if it goes for men, because men do tend to allow their legs to splay out. If there's rest in the feet, in the hips, the knees will sort of slightly open. You can let your hands rest anywhere in your lap, on your thighs, palms up, palms down, as long as the arms are relaxed and the elbow is relaxed. Shoulders are drawing away from the ears, eyes can close. Let's come back towards that breath. Deep breath in. And long breath out. Remember, your default is always natural breath, whatever it is, but we are extending the breath here for those who can. And we will close now with 3 more breaths, sun breaths this time. If you want to rest for longer, if you need to rest for longer, just go ahead, stay in your rest as long as you need to. I recommend it, 5-10 minutes just breathing and enjoying. If you want to close and seal the practice with me, just sit up tall, draw the shoulders back and down, hands down by the sides, palms facing forwards. As you inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale down. 2 more times, inhale up. Exhale down. Last one, inhale up. Palms together and exhale, hands to heart. Thank you for joining me today. Have a brilliant week. We'll see you soon.